There are 7 steps to boosting your self-esteem for you to become the person that you want to be. In this video, I'm going to show you every single one of these steps so you can boost your self-esteem today. Self-esteem really is your opinion and your beliefs about yourself. And this might sound deep, but it's really important. It has to be one of the most important things in the world, how you see yourself, how you feel about yourself. And I would say that's actually a choice, but it's a choice that has been made up by how you have been living your life up until this point. And in this video, I want to share with you the 7 steps to build your self-esteem so you have a better opinion about yourself. You feel better about who you are and where you're going. So step 1 is being aware. We'll look at this in more detail in a moment. Step number 2, self-acceptance. Step number 3, responsibility. Step number 4, self-assertiveness. Step number 5, being more purposeful. And step number 6, self-discipline. And step number 7, to enjoy the ride. Yes, you can actually enjoy developing yourself. So let's start off by talking about step number 1, being aware. And what's so important about this, well, you now know what self-esteem is. It's the opinion and the beliefs that you have about yourself that ultimately is a choice. And what I really start to encourage you to do is to realize that the experience of being you isn't the experience that has to be you in the future. But maybe the change that you're looking for, it's not going to happen for you. It's something that you're going to have to do yourself. And the challenge is, I believe, to be able to look at yourself in the mirror and realize there is more to you than meets the eye. So step number 1 is becoming aware, living consciously. And look, we live in a world where there's information coming at us left, right, and center. So it can be quite difficult just to stop and look at the experience of being ourselves. Step number 2 is to accept where you are. To not look at this as right or wrong or good or bad, not to put a label on it. It is the way that it is. You have been doing the best that you can with what you have, with what you know. And Dr. Phil, who used to be on the Oprah Winfrey program, used to say, people do what they know until they know better. And when they know better, they do better. What I would say, they don't always do better. They could. Because ultimately, so much of this comes down to choice. As Jim Rohn once said, we are the only animals on earth that have choice. We can literally make any choice that we want. There's so many choices, and I'm asking you to make the choice to go on this journey to boost yourself up from the inside out. Because look, every problem really in the world for most people, whether it's anxiety, addiction, fear, worry, doubt, comes to the opinion and the beliefs that you have about yourself. So step number 3 is responsibility. Now, what does that mean? Well, I love that word, responsibility, that you have the ability to choose different responses. But what's so fascinating about human beings, if, for example, I was to stick out my hand, chances are you would do the same because that's how you respond. That's what you know how to do. But you do have the ability to respond in different ways. But that's where, and this is the key point of this whole video, practice. All of these aren't just things that you do once. They're things that you have to practice. And practicing them over time really takes you and your whole life to a whole new level. So you do have the ability to respond, and you can check out loads of our other YouTube videos where we talk about how to advance, how to move forwards, how to think and act differently. Step number 4 is self-assertiveness. Now, what does that mean? Well, when you decide to improve your life, you need to be assertive about it. You need to be definite about it. You need to eliminate other choices that would then allow you to go down a road that you've been down before, to stand up for yourself, to realize that you really do have a place on this earth and you matter. We really do live in a world where messages are flying at us that make so many of us believe that we're not quite right the way that we are, that we should just be like everybody else. And maybe now is the time for you not to be like everyone else, but to be a better version of yourself. Step number 5 is to be purposeful. What does that mean? It's when you make a decision to do something, it's all about doing it. Saying things and doing things are two completely different things. But what's essential about this is to recognize what is it that when you do it, it yields the biggest results for you to improve yourself. Distraction is everywhere. We've talked about this on other videos around the motivation of building up the expectation that if you do things, it will take you to do it a different place, and valuing what it is that you do and pushing down the impulsivity and the delay, not putting off putting yourself forwards. Now is the time to advance. Now is the time to build your self-esteem. Step number 6 is self-discipline. Now, this word discipline isn't a word that most people have a positive association with. For me, when I think about discipline, I think of school, of being told what to do. And I don't know about you, I didn't like school. I didn't like being told. But I want to be a disciple, and that's where the word discipline comes from. I want to be a disciple of the person that I am becoming. And this is absolutely essential in all of the work that we do in coaching people. It is about helping people to identify with who they could be. You in the future. Just imagine that you decide to go to work on yourself like never before. You build yourself up from the inside out. Imagine that you did that for a week, a month, a year, 5 years. And then imagine you in 5 years' time coming back and meeting yourself here today. What words of wisdom would you give yourself? Can you be disciplined to follow that version of yourself? Even build up a communication with that person. A great life, it doesn't happen by chance, it happens by design. And these are key elements to designing your life. And lastly, to enjoy the ride, to enjoy the enjoyment, the satisfaction and the fulfillment that comes from building yourself from the inside out. Now you can see there's drops on here. What do these drops relate to? Well, how does someone become evil? Well, someone becomes evil often by just the drops that fill things up over a period of time. I don't think someone wakes up and becomes evil. It's practice. How does someone become good over time? It's the little droplets that fill up the bucket to the point where you're a completely different human being. It's all about making the decision to move your life in a direction where you really show the world who you are capable of becoming. So what is your biggest takeaway from what you've just heard? Feel free in the comments to comment, share. Who are you committed to becoming, and what exactly can you do to boost your self-esteem? Not now, but right now.